Saw 7, the final chapter. And it completes this little box set. And I just noticed it actually says unrated on the case for anyone in the comments asking what versions I'm watching. Unrated, director's cut, blah blah blah. There you go, unrated. I still don't really know if there's other cuts because on IMDb it only has the one running time for any of the movies. Enough of that. Saw 7, 3D. The final chapter. This set doesn't include the 3D version. I have seen the 3D cut, and the 3D's meh. It's just simple gags like blood splatter flying at the camera or spikes and shit like that, so it's not imperative that you watch it in 3D. What the fuck? I don't remember it being this goddamn good. Like, these later Saw movies are proving better than the earlier ones, which is fucking weird. Not better than the first one, but this one and Saw 5 had me glued to the screen a lot more than, say, like parts 2 and 3. And back in the day, 2 and 3 were my favorites. So, just goes to show. As time goes on, you might actually end up liking some shit that you fucking hated back in the day. That still ain't gonna happen with me and Todd Sheets movies, though. Fuck those movies. Saw the final chapter. We see Hoffman back at it, and he is in pure savage mode. In this movie, the way Hoffman moves and acts, he kind of gives me like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers vibes. Except that he does talk, but he's just as fucking brutal as those guys are, even with him not directly killing people, but the way he's just hunting. Jill tucks back in it, Jigsaw's wife, and Hoffman has it hard for her. He wants her fucking done. And can't really blame him after the way Saw 6 ends. Fucking how he survived that. Dude's fucking smart. So it starts off with two dudes stuck to a table and this chick stuck to the ceiling up above them. They're in a glass box on display for the public out in the street. Jigsaw's biggest spectacle yet. Well, it's not really Jigsaw. It's fucking Hoffman. Jigsaw died a few movies ago. And these dudes find out that that chick has been playing both of them. She's been acting like a girlfriend to both of them, and they didn't know about each other. Well, they knew of each other, but they didn't know they were each banging that chick. And the choice is easy. Either kill one of themselves, let the bitch live, kill the bitch, and they both get to live. Pretty fucking simple, and it ends up really, really messy. It's magnificent. And of course it ends with a zoom in on the dead chick's tits. After that, it starts following this douchebag who's trying to cash in on Jigsaw. Wrote a whole book called Survive, all that, talking about how he survived one of Jigsaw's puzzles. And that doesn't go over too well with Jigsaw, Hoffman, and all that. Jigsaw has it all planned out for what Hoffman has to do. And before he gets captured, we see him doing TV spots promoting the show. He's at a Jigsaw survival meeting with previous people. Most of them we haven't seen before, but they bring in the chick who had to cut her arm off in the Pound of Flesh game. And she's obviously quite fucking pissed off still because she's still processing everything, and she's not having any of that guy's bullshit. Calls him out on bringing the camera crew and everything like that. And then we get a return visit from Dr. Gordon from the first Saw movie. I always thought he was fucking dead. I forgot he was still alive. I've seen all these movies before. I fucking forgot about him. And goddamn, it was awesome to see him on the screen again in the meeting. Just being a bit of a dick to the book writer guy. Just being kind of condescending. Fucking loved it. Then shortly after that, the book writer gets abducted. And it's kind of like, oh, you want to say you were in one of my games without actually being in one? Shit's gonna change, homie. And throughout his game, the people from his publicist team are the ones in the traps. And he's got to do shit to save them. The one bitch, the one that's always fucking blah, 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 blah. She's strapped to a chair with 4 pipes. 2 pointed here, 2 pointed at the back of her neck. And the louder she screams and talks, the closer the spikes get. Buddy also has, I think it's a minute, he's shown an x-ray on where the key is to release her. And it's deep down inside her belly. You see string going in her mouth. And on the x-ray, they also show a fish hook's attached to it. And he's got to fucking yank that out of her mouth without her making too much noise, or else the spikes are going to kill her anyways. If he doesn't get it out within a minute and unlock the lock, she's dead. So that was a really, really awesome and sadistic little game. Up next, there's the other chick in his team. And fuck. Just the shit that gets done to these people this time is just brutal. Unfortunately, I don't really remember what fucking happens to her or the game that has to be played. But it wasn't nice. I remember that. He also has to help his buddy that talked him into doing all this bullshit. And that's a nice one. He's got a fucking noose wrapped around him that's attached to a lynch. So after X amount of time, if things aren't done properly, the lynch kicks it and hangs the bastard. The game is, each one's on the opposite side of a second-story floor. The whole floor is gone in between them. Buddy can't see it because he's got a metal blindfold wrapped around his head. So book writer dude has to verbally coach him across these little planks to get so that book writer can hand him the key, but book writer has to traverse some fuckery as well to get closer to him and hand him the key. And again, shit doesn't really go as planned. It's not a bloody trap or game per se, but it is rather tense just watching this one go down, because you're like, it's so simple, but it's so fucking difficult at the same time. Like, fuck, and you're responsible for your best friend's life like that. Like, it's risky. And last but not least, he comes across his wife. She's strapped to a platform, and every time Buddy fails or passes a game, more likely fails, the chain pulls her down closer to the ground, so that by the end of it, she's on all fours. He walks in, and he has to explain to her that he's been a bullshitter this whole fucking time. He was never in a trap. It was all made up. And for his final game, his final test, he has to do what he wrote in his book was his game. And fuck, is it ever painful to watch. basically 2 hooks through the pectorals, and he's got to pull himself up some chains to connect a circuit so that his wife can live. If she doesn't live, he never sees her again. Pretty simple. There's the traps out of the way, and on the other side is still, it's Hoffman. Jill is in police protective custody. He's trying to hunt her down. Back. And yeah, so Hoffman's spending the movie hunting Jill down, trying to find her within police custody. He's got some pretty cool tricks up his sleeves. I'm not going to spoil everything. I just remembered there's one more game in this I forgot to mention. Motherfucking Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. He's in this movie. And he plays like the leader of some skinhead group. And this is one of my favorite traps, because not because it's Chester, but because we get 4 kills in one game. It's beautiful. So, since he's the leader of the gang, he's the one that has to do all the bullshit. His girlfriend, okay, so first he's glued to a car seat, and there's a red lever just out of reach that he has to peel himself off the chair, ripping his flesh to grab it and release everything. If he doesn't, his girlfriend dies and 2 of his friends die. His girlfriend is strapped under the car with her head under the wheel, so if he fails, then the car drops, the spinning wheel crushes her head, and then the car moves forward, pulling the chains out of his buddy behind the car. And there's a huge ring through his mouth with the chain attached and to some other body parts, so that'll get ripped out of him. And then there's someone else attached to the wall in front of the car who's going to get crushed. And then the car goes through and makes an immediate stop, and Chester will go flying out the windshield. He does his damnedest to get out of that car. We get some real nice close-up shots of the flesh ripping off of his body, inside peak of the muscle tissue under the flesh. It's a goddamn treat to watch. I loved every second of that one. That's one of my all-time favorites. It's up there with the spinning crucifix thingy. I know there's a proper name for that trap, but I can never remember it, so for me it's forever the spinning crucifix. This one has another cop on the trail of Hoffman. Well, everybody knows it's Hoffman. There's no secret about it anymore. This cop is determined to get him. He shares some backstory on how him and Hoffman know each other. Pretty cool story, actually. I'm not going to get into it. Don't want to spoil anything, even though I've talked about most of the traps and kind of ruined that. Sorry. But yeah, Saw 7, the final chapter. So not only did the Saw movies come out and blow everyone away with the twist ending in the first movie, what I find really awesome about these is that, unlike most franchises where the sequels start to really fall off after the 3rd or 4th, this series just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. I'm still blown away at how much I enjoyed Part 5 and now Part 7 as well. I saw Part 7 in theaters on opening day in 3D. I remember watching it in 3D when the physical copies came out, and those are the only 2 times I've watched it. And now this is my 3rd time, and I'm fucking blown away. The shit is awesome. Grab these fucking movies when you can. Make sure you get physical copies, because who knows how long they're going to be streaming. Sure, they're streaming now on HBO, but that's just because Spiral came out. Once the hype dies for Spiral, are you going to fucking stream them? You're shit out of luck. Fucking buy copies. Physical copies can't be taken away. Streaming ones, they can flip a switch on the server and take your favorite fucking movie away from you. Can't do it when it's in your own goddamn hands. Support physical media. Go grab this set. Go grab the individual unrated cuts on DVD. Whatever. Just get yourself physical copies. Show the industry that people still want to hold the copy in their fucking hands. 'Cause if we don't, we're gonna lose it. And sure, streaming can be handy. Like, I wish Spiral was streaming right now so I could fucking see it. Since Ontario is in lockdown, no theaters, I can't go see the goddamn movie. But enough of that whining. Saw franchise. It's fucking killer. And make sure to subscribe and stick around because the Jigsaw review is coming up next, folks. Thanks for fucking watching. Stay sleazy. Peace.